is Alouise, a precious goat that was brought to us with a serious injury that we had the pleasure of healing and saved her life, and this is how. Warning, viewer discretion is advised. There is some blood and some maggots in the following footage. Miss Alouise was brought to us with a serious injury caused by a dog attack. Unfortunately, while her owners were out of town, she was attacked by their dogs. Unfortunately, her sister did not make it and succumbed to her injuries, but Miss Alouise was a fighter and was able to survive. She was brought to us with a severe wound in her right shoulder that needed treatment immediately. Unfortunately, because we are in a rural area, vets are really hard to come by, and even in emergency situations, it can take a long time to seek veterinary care. And because veterinarians are hard to find, prices are extremely high if you are not a client. Because Alouise's owners were out of the country at this time, we were able to heal her up as best as we could. She was given some long-acting antibiotics as well as some painkillers to help her get through the first 72 hours. The next day after receiving her is when we started treating the wounds. Her wounds were soaked with cold water every day to keep them clean, and then given either a dressing or some sort of salve or ointment. We used raw honey. We used silver honey, which has some different medical ingredients in it to help with wound care. And we also ended up using red coat, which is a wound healing ointment that sprays on to help clean her wounds. On day 7, the infection started setting in and the maggots began eating the flesh that had become dead underneath the skin from the puncture wound from the dog bite. This is when we had to extract the maggots from her leg, clean it out thoroughly with peroxide and iodine to help clean it out and keep the maggots from coming back. At this point, we were able to get all the maggots completely cleaned and never had a maggot problem again. We continued to clean out her wound twice a day and redress it. It took about 3 weeks for her leg to get to a good point where it looked like it was really healing properly. It went through stages where all of the dead flesh had to rot away and fall off, and overall it was quite an interesting experience. But Miss Alouise is doing absolutely amazing and has made a full recovery. We are still not fully healed. We are down to about a dime-sized hole that has now built up all the different muscle and layers of tissue necessary. She's not limping and she's able to get around and hang out with her goat friends. Miss Alouise's owners returned and made the decision to allow her to stay with us here on the farm to continue receiving care and for us to love on her for the rest of her days. I hope you enjoyed this wonderful story of our precious goat and the wound care that we did to help save her from this dog attack.